Hey, welcome to News You Can Use. I'm your host, BG, and some interesting things are going on for people right here in Canada, including conversations around something called birth alerts. Plus, a new business directory has been created for Black entrepreneurs in mind. And we also have some really big, some massive news about a contest we announced about, I think it was last week? Anyways, we'll get to that. But before we do and get you all those details, I do need you to subscribe to this channel, tap that notification bell, and follow us on all of our social media. Heads up, those details in the links below. So question for you, have you heard of the show Diggstown? No? Okay, if you haven't, let me give you some details. Diggstown is a legal drama set in Nova Scotia, and it's actually one of 5 shows that's created by Black Canadians for Black Canadians. And they often touch on very controversial topics, and a new episode, in fact, of the show coming out on November 3rd sees a group of Black and Indigenous mothers file a Supreme Court case over something called birth alerts. Some of you may know what that is. Some of you may have not or never heard of what birth alerts are, and you're not alone if you haven't. In fact, the majority of Canadians haven't. Devin, I know that you've been looking into this. You've done some research on birth alerts. Break it down for us.
So basically, birth alerts are when a mother who's deemed high risk goes into labor, she's at the hospital, and the hospital contacts child welfare services to get involved. The thought is so that they can protect the baby. That's how they came into play. A lot of people are advocating against this practice because it impacts mainly Indigenous and Black mothers. So statistically here, I have a lot of women who are affected by this are racialized. So the Ministry of Children and Family Development found that 58% of parents affected by birth alerts in British Columbia in 2018 were Indigenous.
Now this is interesting, eh?
A lot of times it leads to babies actually being taken away from their families and placed into social services or the foster system. So it's very controversial.
It feels systemic.
Very, very systemic.
You know what's interesting? British Columbia actually banned birth alerts back in 2019, which is just 2 years ago, folks, as did Yukon and Alberta. And then Manitoba and Ontario followed suit last year, and Saskatchewan and PEI did the same this year. But there are actually still a few provinces where birth alerts are still used.
Yeah, so they're mainly used in Quebec and then in the Maritimes. So we're talking Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Newfoundland and Labrador. Diggstown actually takes place in Nova Scotia.
And listen to this. I actually sat down with the director of the November 3rd episode, Juanita Peters, and the showrunner and creator, Floyd Kane, to talk about birth alerts and why Diggstown is bringing this conversation to light. Here's some receipts of that interview.
No one even wants you here.
I'm asking you to have faith in me.
I'm in trouble.
But you're saying he's innocent.
I'm not saying anything, actually.
Floyd Kane and Juanita Peters, thank you so much for joining us here on News You Can Use. And firstly, congrats on the success of the show Diggstown. How does it feel?
It's great.
You know, for people who may have never watched the show before, can you give us a really quick brief of what it's about?
The show started, it's about Marcy Diggs, a corporate lawyer who, after the death of an aunt, she decides to go work for legal aid. And we get to watch her every week kind of jump into the trenches as she fights for the dispossessed.
Wow. So I know that in the coming weeks, or actually next week, something big is going to happen where you guys really change the conversation or bring in something about a very big issue, birth alerts. What are birth alerts for people who may not know?
But birth alerts were a policy where community services would reach out to the local hospitals, and your name, a woman's name, would be put on a list. And if that woman came into the hospital to give birth, Child and Family Services would be notified, and that person's baby would be taken from them.
So why did this begin? Like, in your research, in terms of telling this story, what did you find out in terms of why did they begin this policy?
I think the idea was, best interest of the child and child protection, right? Which, as we talk about in the show, that's an idea that we can all kind of, get behind. But where things become fuzzy is once you start having those policies that are meant to be objective being enforced by subjective actors. There's a lot of information that says that even though these policies are meant to be objective, that they primarily impact Indigenous and Black women.
Juanita, I would love to know from you, like, why do you think it's important for Canadians to know about this problem?
It's one of those things that you're just not going to talk about around the kitchen table or at a dinner out somewhere. It's not even going to come up in conversation anywhere unless you know somebody who has been affected by it or is going through it, or you have some connection to it.
So what impact, Floyd, would you want to see this episode have?
I honestly, like, Nova Scotia is one of the few provinces that still carries out birth alerts. I would love to see the new government there just simply go, you know what, we're not going to do this anymore.
Floyd Kane, Juanita Peters, thank you so much for joining us here on News You Can Use. We appreciate your time.
Thank you
Thank you so much.
So why don't we learn about this?
It's interesting. I knew about it before we talked about this and did the interview, only because I took so many women's studies courses when I was in college. But a lot of Canadians, I was even talking about this with my dad a couple of weeks ago, have never heard of this before, ever. And it's such a widespread problem. So I think it's really important that a show like Diggstown is bringing it to light.
Yeah, question for you guys watching right now. Have you heard of birth alerts? Have you been impacted by this, controversial practice? Let us know in the comment section. I really want to have like a good discussion here and see what we get from you guys. Speaking of bringing things to light, by the way, shall we switch gears to something that we should celebrate a little bit?
Yes.
Well, listen to this. The Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce has partnered with Uber to create Black Business Direct, a website for people to look up Black-owned businesses and services provided by Black entrepreneurs. This is huge, Devin.
It's such a cool idea. Like, I know a lot of the times people are out there and you're looking to spend your money ethically. You want to buy Black, you want to buy Indigenous, you want to shop small, you want to shop local, but it's an extra effort. But this is kind of centralizing it, right? It's creating a hub where people can go and look and they know where to go to find these businesses.
100%. And now there's no excuse not to support Black-owned businesses. Not saying that you can't support all businesses, but we know that there is an effort right now to support minority-owned businesses who for too long were, disenfranchised, or just even starting up a business as a racialized person was so difficult because of all the systemic barriers. For example, like even getting a loan. If you don't know about it, go Google it. Or we'll talk about it maybe in another episode. Anyways, everyone is encouraged to use it so they can support Black businesses. I actually spoke to Tony West, the Chief Legal Officer of Uber, about this new project. Take a listen to what he had to say. Uber's Chief Legal Officer, Tony West, thanks so much for joining us here on News You Can Use. How are you?
I'm doing well, Brandon. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
The Black Business Direct launches. How does it feel?
Well, it feels good. I mean, this is a partnership that's actually been in the works for some time, and we've just continued to deepen our partnership with the CBCC, and now being able to launch this national digital directory for Canadian Black-owned businesses, for entrepreneurs, something that's free to join, that can continue to be built, continue to sort of elevate Black businesses. We're excited to be a part of it.
I think a lot of people want to know, why was it so important to partner with the Black Chamber of Commerce here in Canada for this initiative?
After last summer's reckoning on race that was triggered by George Floyd's murder, and as part of that, we saw a number of businesses, Uber included, saying, hey, how can we double down on our commitment to the Black community? How can we double down on our commitment to stand against anti-Black racism? And out of that came an effort to make a number of commitments that said that, at Uber, we aspire to be an anti-racist company.
I have no doubt this is going to be hugely successful. In fact, I'm already hearing people talking about it on the streets. But I'd love to know, are we going to see this play out in other countries where Uber operates, for example?
Absolutely. One of the things that I think is so about Uber's global scale is it allows us to try things in different parts of the world. One of the commitments we made in our commitment to be an anti-racist company was to use our platform to educate riders, drivers, delivery people, employees, to educate them on the sources of systemic racism, how it plays itself out in society, and what they can do about it. And there are these education modules. We're piloting those in Brazil. I'm sure that what we're doing in Canada will offer great lessons and opportunities for things that we can do in other countries as well.
What can we expect to see in the next 3 to 5, 10 years? What does that mission look like?
Yeah, well, we made a number of commitments last year. We wanted to double Black representation in our leadership by 2025.
Are you guys on track to do that?
We're on track, but we need to do more work. And we made commitments to give $50 million to communities of color. We earmarked $25 million specifically to invest in small businesses, in Black entrepreneurship, in individuals. But the real test of our commitment won't be what we say right now in the heat of the moment, but in a year from now, after the protesters have gone home and these issues have faded from the headlines.
You know, that's what I'm here for, to make sure that you guys get those things done.
That's right. Hold us to account.
To hold you to account. Uber's Chief Legal Officer, Tony West, thanks again for joining us here on News You Can Use.
Thank you so much. It's great to be with you.
You know what? Like, I actually think something like this has been a long time coming, and it's cool that it's all digital.
I think so too, and now there's literally no excuse to not shop local, not shop Black, and to stop shopping at big box stores. You know, it's a really cool initiative.
Yeah, support local, support
sure.
local, support the community. Okay, let me know if you're going to be supporting these Black businesses in the comment section. And another thing that we want to share, some exciting news, some good news. If you didn't see it, well, that's your fault. Back on October 13th, we announced our biggest giveaway ever. What did it include? Well, a special BG Show Hennessy prize package and $1,000. So listen to this. Our team has finally selected a winner. And do you want to know who that winner is? Well, you're going to have to wait for the newest episode of The BG Show, which comes out on Sunday, because, Devin, we're going to be announcing the winner at the end of the episode.
Yes, so now there's no excuse not to tune in.
Okay. And by the way, you know who we like to tune into, by the way? Can we give her flowers?
Yes.
Because we were talking about this before we started recording. My girl, Keke Palmer.
Yes. Yes.
No, literally. Many of you might know her. If you don't, you know, you got to go look her up. But Keke has been going viral on TikTok rather, for a sound that was from her time hosting at the Met Gala. She was interviewing Meg Thee Stallion. If you don't know the sound, it kind of went like, oh, 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 oh.
It's the...
How did it go? How does it go? All right. Yeah, just... You know it's your girl. Just play it. Play the sound.
I know it ain't the stallion. You know it's your girl.
Anyways, so she recently was talking to this entertainment outlet about that sound, and just take a listen to what she had to say about it.
I can't tell you. Not everybody's coming up with, you know it's your girl. I honestly have to ask myself, why am I at my job doing that? Why was I at my job telling myself, I don't know what it is with me.
Listen, this is why I love Keke. She keeps it real, and I think she is somebody who deserves not just flowers, but what else can you give her? Like
praise, recognition. Not only is she...
Jobs.
Not only is she extremely talented, she's uses her platform to like bring awareness to things, and that's like, she has PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and she's very open about that. And like, I just think that's really cool. You know, you can tell she's a homegirl. You know, you enjoy hanging out with her.
I love it, and we love you too, Keke. So all the love to you, and hopefully you'll get to come on our show. We'll get to talk to you, because I feel like it would be a vibe.
It's Keke. It's our girl.
Hold on, I gotta wrap up the show. Anyhow, a reminder, we're wrapping this up now, that a new episode of The BG Show comes out this Sunday. Here's a quick sneak peek, take a look. We're talking about 4-day work weeks.
Oh, that's lovely.
That's what your friend said too.
Yes, please.
It's about 4-day work weeks.
It's about, oh, you're talking good.
Yeah, you like that, eh?
Oh yeah, that'd be sweet.
Are you about that life?
Yes.
Okay. It's about 4-day work weeks. So don't forget to watch that, set your alarms, and if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to this channel, tap that notification bell, and follow us on all of our social media. Devin, great news you can use.
Yes.
All right, we'll see you all soon. Bye. Hey BG Squad, thanks so much for checking out our channel. And listen to this, we have more great content for you, like this video right here and this video right here. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to this channel right now and tap that notification bell.